Hello and welcome to Reasons Are Debatable, where we look at one topic from many angles and offer bad advice that you didn't know you needed. My name is Matt.
Hi, Matt. I'm Neil.
Oh, hi, Neil.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. I wanted to get a few notes out of the way before we get into our topic today.
Okay.
There is a little bit of promotion, shameless promotion involved. First, I wanted to say a big congrats to the fellas at the Plunge podcast who are hitting 100 episodes.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
They fancy themselves the #1 podcast in Idaho, which is really interesting since they're in New Hampshire. So I don't know if that also holds true when they expand to Greater Idaho. They might drop to #2. I'm not sure about that. But go check out their 100th episode. You can hear me dropping a voicemail on them.
Oh.
All over their faces.
Okay, then. Well, there we go.
Do you remember Dave Meyer?
A little bit.
White guy?
Of course, if he's your friend, sure.
Wow.
Didn't he podcast for a while?
He did.
Didn't he have a dad?
He had a big old dick. Remember?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Well, it wasn't very long.
No.
It was short.
just-
it was stout.
right.
It was very thick.
Yeah. It looked like the Echo Dot.
Yeah, exactly. Just like that. So
Different color though.
Thick Dick Dave, as I like to call him, formerly of the Podcast Without Borders, and there's like 9 million other shows he did. He is back after a long hiatus. I spoke with him over the weekend in what I thought was kind of a test of his audio.
Mm-hmm. And it ended up being episode 1.
20 minutes in, he's like, "Oh, I'm just going to make this episode 1 if you're cool with it." So it's like, okay.
Nice. And so what's the podcast about?
It is a podcast called, so he's rebooting it. He kind of took a page from our book as far as the reboot, but kind of keeping a somewhat similar vibe and name.
Okay.
So it was Podcast Without Borders. Now it's Podcast Without Bounds, which I think is meant to work on 2 levels.
Yeah. S&M.
S&M, bondage.
Okay. Yeah.
and no holds barred, nothing held back.
Wrestling podcast. Got it. Got it.
Wrestling and bondage.
Yeah.
There you go.
Maybe kangaroos too.
I hope so. He's got giraffes.
Mm-hmm.
All about that giraffe.
That's right.
He is launching that this week. In fact, he has an episode out already that I'm a part of. So if you want to go check that out.
And this is Dawn.
This is Don.
Dawn.
Big Dick Don.
Big Dick Dawn.
Thick Dick
Thick
Dawn.
Dick.
Thick Dick. It was funny that when we got into the episode and he said, do you mind if this just becomes episode 1? I thought I should do that to my dad. I should
That
be on
would
the
be
phone,
hilarious.
The phone with him and just be like, "Hey,
Just
Dad,
record.
This is the first episode of Not Now, Dad, my new podcast."
Of, oh, Jesus Christ, him again.
Right. But go check them out. He's at Dave of Diamonds on Twitter. I don't think he's got a feed set up yet for the new podcast, but he does have the show out there, so go check it out. And as always, I wanted to say, of course, go check out Dark Angels and Pretty Freaks, your other show that you do.
Freaking do it. Bring it.
Just
Bring
this
it.
past, no, not this week, but the week before, you had a gentleman on named Matthew.
Matthew.
Right, not Matt.
Not Matt.
Matthew.
Matthew.
The good-looking one.
The good-looking Matthew. Yes. Yeah, we talked about Do Your Gin. He worked for the company, and it was a lot of fun. He knows his shit, I'll tell you that. And he's a nice guy. He's a nice kid.
How is he? You kept calling him kid. Is he a real young guy?
I think he's 24, 25.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was a nice segue into what we're going to talk about today.
Which is alcohol, Matt. We're going to talk alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Matthew, real quick,
Sure.
I did ask him if he prefers to be called Matt or Matthew, because I know some people are one way and some people are the other. So I always find it, I don't want to ever shorten someone's name without asking them first, as I've also asked you.
Names are just made up. You can just call them
They're
whatever.
just words.
It's just,
They're
as long as you
if
understand.
they know I'm talking to them.
Exactly.
Like,
then it
hey,
doesn't
Harry
matter.
Sack. Yeah. So we are going to discuss alcohol, what we think of it, what we're doing with it, our experiences with it, good, the bad. Now, I do know there are many people out there that do not drink alcohol. We're not going to try and make this a show where we're just like, everyone go get blitz. Just kind of some stories about it. But if you do think you're having some issues with drinking alcohol, seek help and stop, because it's not worth fucking up your whole life to just get a little buzz on. You know what I'm saying?
It's true, but it is a lot of fun if you can handle it.
But it does have if you can't handle it, like heroin, it has its upsides.
Just like heroin.
Yeah. Couple lines of blow and a 6-pack of beer, and fucking it's a good Tuesday.
Well, I assume you were going to ask if I'm a fan, and yes, I am a fan. I'm a
Well,
fan.
I know
I'm
you're a fan.
I wasn't
even gonna pretend not to know that.
I was actually hoping you would just say, "What do you drink?"
What are you
Senator.
drinking? You like beer?
You like beer, Senator?
You like beer? So let me ask you this.
Sure.
What do you recall your first experience with alcohol being? And now this can be like when you realized if your parents drank alcohol, or like a brother or a sibling, like when did you realize it was this thing that changed people's, I don't know, maybe everything about the personalities, appearance, whatever, or did that happen after you actually started drinking?
Oh, no. It was early days.
Mm-hmm.
I think because I don't know what it was like in your house, but
very dark and cold. I was very alone.
oh no, we're gonna dive into another topic.
Yeah.
Never mind. Well, alcohol's a depressant. So, so yeah, I think that many people my age at least experienced this, which is, during the 70s and 80s growing up, it seemed like the liquor cabinet was very accessible and almost on the honor system. Like they just figured their kids weren't going to mess with it.
Absolutely.
It was just right there, ready to go whenever.
Yeah.
I mean, you could easily grab at it and get into it.
And there always seemed to be a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Every different
and random
kind.
stuff. Yeah. Just random stuff. And it's almost like people brought stuff over, and like, it's almost like it just went around like, no one really wants Jack Daniels, but everyone seemed to have some for some reason.
I think there was maybe it was just like the social aspect of you always want to be able to serve anybody whatever drink they wanted. You had to have a fully stocked bar. And so they did. And also all the accoutrements that go with it is because they had like, all the mixing.
It was like the discovery of grenadine was in your parents. You're like, what is this?
Right, exactly. I'll try it.
They're like, no, you can have that. And you're like, oh my God. But then you start mixing it with 7-Up and you're like, what is going on? Yeah.
Well, also it seemed like there were always, I feel like cocktail napkins have really gone by the wayside in this day and age. Mm-hmm. But back in the day, man, we had so many different types, probably a lot of them not very PC, I'm sure.
Oh. Sure, and always had some Christmas ones mixed in there, or holiday. Like you're going through them, and you're like, "What is it?" And then one's a joy to the world. You're like, "What? Why do we have this one?"
Yom Kippur cocktail waitress napkins. We don't
cocktail waitress.
Cocktail waitress.
There's old Yom.
We're not
Come here,
Jewish.
Yom Kippur.
Yeah, and then also the other thing that was funny is I feel like they also had a wider variety of cocktail glasses and different types of options there. So I always remember we had this variety of glasses that were like, one of them had, I'm Italian, and it had it like written out 10 different ways and crossed out and spelled wrong and all this stuff. Then one, which I wish I still to this day had this glass. It is a glass with all around are pairs of boobs.
Okay.
With the nipples pointing in different directions. Like one, they're pointing to opposite directions, and one they're kind of cross-eyed. They're up and down the other way. They're pointing up left, pointing up right. It is the most inappropriate glass I wish to this day that I had that glass. I don't know. My dad probably has it somewhere packed in a box.
I'm gonna look for that thing because I know I'm sure it's available. I'm sure. I believe it's probably available somewhere, and I am going to buy it for you.
If anybody out there has any good ones like that, please share pictures with us on Twitter.
It will become our Eugene Tumblr.
Yeah, can we do through? By the way, you can buy merch for the podcast at tpublic.com/ what is it?
Stores/DAPF pod.
DAPF pod. Can you get glassware in there?
They don't have glassware yet.
That'd be great. We should make cocktail glasses. That'd be a nice one.
I'm hoping they do have masks, which is good right now for the coronavirus, and I'm hoping they'll do hats soon because I do want a couple.
Yeah, hats would be good. Definitely I'd like to have hats, and I did order one with our name on it. I didn't order the Jam It In.
Okay,
that's Jam It In there is a pretty tough mask to rock in public, even though it's awesome.
Even though it's hilarious. Yeah.
But yeah, those were kind of the early days when we would notice that type of stuff. I mean, I remember one Easter or something. I don't know what. We had a bunch of people over. My brother like snuck a little bit, and all of us other kids gathered around and watched him take a drink of it and stuff like that. So there was all that. There was kind of that allure, but also maybe a little bit of the shine off of it because of the fact that you saw it so much too.
Right.
You certainly felt like it was normal, and that liquor was just what people drank. It wasn't like my dad, drank some beer, and my mom would have some wine and stuff. But for the most part, they drank a lot of liquor. I don't mean
during the week.
I don't mean to say that like they drink all the time.
Right.
I just mean they preferred liquor.
Right. Did they drink during the week, or was it a weekend thing?
Seemed like more of a weekend thing. I don't remember them drinking a lot during the week. I mean, they may have had, I've come home from work. I want my cocktail before we have dinner or something like that. That kind of thing might have happened, but it was more so just a social aspect. We had people over all the time, and would have parties, and that liquor cabinet was just flying.
My parents hardly drank.
Really?
My dad drank milk with dinner up until I was 16.
Is he a lunatic?
He is, absolutely.
Racist
one.
Why is he drinking milk that long?
It's crazy. He still drinks milk. He still likes it.
You don't need it.
No, and it's gross.
It is gross.
It is gross. I drink fake milk.
You have to drink the coldest milk possible to even have a chance of getting it down your throat.
Yeah. So and on the weekends, he wasn't a beer guy. He's never been a beer guy. He's probably had in his whole life less than 20 beers.
Wow.
Yeah. My mom was not a drinker. So even on the weekends, it wasn't like wine. They got into wine. Like I said, when I was like 16, 17, they started getting kind of into wine. But obviously at that point they were older too. But we had the liquor cabinet.
Yeah.
One, it was freaking full because they never drank anything.
Yeah.
But I do remember like special occasions, holidays and stuff, they would drink. So a big thing, New Year's Eve and Easter was grasshoppers.
Uh-huh.
And Christmas, they do the eggnog. And then what's the other, like hot buttered rum?
Hot buttered rum.
Mm-hmm. They'd like to do that. But aside from that, yeah, we had so much alcohol in the house and it just wasn't really their deal. But I would sneak off a little bit every now and then just to see what the big deal was. I was not really a fan. I liked the taste of beer as a young kid, but I didn't like, my mom would have a beer every now and then. But I didn't like the taste of hard liquor.
It doesn't surprise me that you don't like the taste of liquor because it's pretty brutal. And
I do now. Frickin' drink it all the time.
No, but I mean, as a kid, yeah. Like it's tough. But I'm surprised that you actually enjoy the taste of beer. That's definitely an acquired taste. Because when you first drink beer, typically you're like, oh my God, what the hell is this? And why would anybody drink it? And then you start to acquire the taste for it. With alcohol, with liquor, because we had that liquor cabinet, because we didn't have a ton of beer sitting around or wine or whatever, we would, when we were going to sneak it, we would have liquor. And we didn't know how to do anything. We didn't know how to mix it together or whatever. We would mix different liquors together.
Suicides, sure.
Yeah. I was like, I'm going to have, like this vodka's tough. I'm going to mix whiskey with it. That'll make it taste better. That's just such a horrible idea.
Two of the clear ones and a brown one.
Right. Mix them. Yeah. There you go. And then you mix it up and drink it. And it doesn't matter because at that point, anything, it just burns like hell. And everybody had that look, that liquor, straight liquor pop and look on their face. They're just like, warm vodka. It's just like, like you're just struggling to get it down. So clearly there was a goal in mind, which was, to get happy,
to feel good.
But you see your parents doing it and you're like, they're having a great time. So
they're loving it.
Yeah. But you just didn't realize that
Mom's got her boobs out again.
Just the boob glass. Not her boobs.
Just the boob glass. All right.
But I think you don't think about the fact that even if you mixed in some tonic, which I'm sure was sitting right there.
Oh yeah.
It would have taken the edge off, but you just, nope, I'm just going to hammer this shit back. Yeah. So that was not a good idea. And
it's not, I mean, I would imagine with your parents too, it's not like they were talking about cocktail recipes. So it didn't make any sense of like, mix the, get some freaking bourbon and sweet vermouth and a little bit of this and make yourself a Manhattan.
Yeah. And
get after it.
I don't probably make enough drinks to know how to make all those drinks, but I feel like it didn't matter what anybody said. Everybody's like, yep, got it. Like, like everybody had an encyclopedic brain for all cocktails.
Yeah. What was your, do you remember your first experience with actually drinking as, like to be fun? To be fun. Drink to be fun.
That's why I always
drink. You're kind of, you do become a fun guy when you're drinking.
Much more fun.
No, and I don't mean like the first ever experience with alcohol, but the first time it was like, oh yeah, I know what it does. I know I like this, or I think I like Miller Genuine Draft, and I'm going to drink it with my friends or at a party. Do you remember that first time?
So apologies to our longtime listeners who listen to the old podcast, because I'm sure I talked about it on there, but the first real incident we had, and I call it an incident because it was in middle school. And so I was 13, and which is a little young.
A little young.
Drinking, considering my oldest kid just turned 11. So that's scary.
Yeah.
But my friend's mom had
he's plowed right now.
He's totally
he started. Yeah.
No, he just does blow. But little tiny little amounts.
Yeah.
He just rubs it on his gums. Anyway, so I hope he never listens to this. Sorry,
Oh,
son.
he will. Yeah. Well, it's all right. He finds it in your wife's purse. So what the hell?
That's true. Good point. No, but my buddy had his mom. He didn't have a wife at 13.
Whoa.
His mom.
Where did you grow up? Freaking Tennessee or Alabama, Mississippi?
His mom,
Wife, whatever.
his mom, who ironically, lives across the street from me.
Oh, really?
Now, today.
Wow.
You
hit that?
Jesus, I'm not going to answer. I'm not going to dignify that with a response. She got remarried to the man she's married to still today, who's across the street as well. And they don't live apart. and she had all this. They had all this alcohol in their garage from the wedding because they had done some private event or whatever, and they brought all this booze home and all this beer and everything.
One of those private event weddings as opposed to the public ones. That's cool. That's cool. All right. Very cool.
I meant not
they know how to dial it in.
Not at a venue. I think it was maybe something done.
Park or
whatever.
Something.
I don't know. Shit. Rewind. It sounded better in my mind. So she had all this. They had all this alcohol in their garage. So my buddy, we were locker partners.
Mm-hmm.
So he would bring alcohol to school every day and give it to me in the locker, and I'd take it home and stick it in my chest of drawers.
Nice.
And so do you call it chest of drawers or do you call it a dresser? We always called it chest of drawers.
My parents call it. My dad calls it a chest of drawers. I call it a dresser.
Yeah, I think I think most sane people call it dressers. I think I'm living in some old timey world.
Chest of drawers. Like I have a chest. This one doesn't have drawers, and then I have a chest of drawers.
That's a chest of no drawers.
Yeah,
and then
that's like a foot locker. Why don't you just call it a foot locker? No, they're both chests. Let me explain the difference again. No drawers, chest of drawers.
I'm looking for a chest of no drawers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's gonna run you. No. Anyway, so this operation goes on during the week. He's funneling me alcohol. I take it home and I hide it. We go. So at this point, maybe my mom was out of town, and my mom and dad were separated or divorced at that point. And my dad was watching us, but he was out on a date.
Oh,
this is a theme that goes into high school where we just take advantage of my dad being gone chasing women.
Cool.
Not in a bad way.
Right. I mean, they wanted to be chased.
They wanted to be chased.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad. Not now, Dad.
Yeah.
So there are 4 of us guys that were going to get together and have some beers or have whatever. I think we had beers. We probably had there were probably some fucking wine coolers in there too.
Mm-hmm. The old Bartles and James. Sure.
Yeah. A little bit of that. So we decide we're going to go to this. We're in 8th grade. We're going to go to the 7th grade party because
Oh, freaking bring it!
we're the studs.
Yeah, that's right.
Kings of the school. So we go, and I bring with me. I grab a bottle of Cuddy Sark.
Oh yeah.
You ever drink Cuddy Sark?
Stuff? No, God, no.
That is a total parents' drink, a bottle that was in your liquor cabinet.
Right. So absolutely was in the liquor cabinet. It took me years to even know what it was. I mean, almost to adulthood.
Yeah.
Because I just never even read the bottle. And then finally I'm like, what is Cuddy Sark? Yeah. I also thought it was Cuddy Shark.
Oh, that's
for the longest time.
I bet there's a knockoff brand.
Probably. Yeah. To me, one that's not as good.
There's a couple lying in your chest of no drawers somewhere.
That's right.
But so we went to the 7th grade party, and I decide, hey, they've got this big, huge Gatorade thing of punch. Let's spike the punch with Cuddy Sark.
Oh God. Nice.
Cuddy Sark doesn't mix well with most things. Probably not Hawaiian Punch or whatever the hell it was, or Gatorade.
High C.
We got caught by the dude who was holding the party. Kicked us out. Fucking respect,
the little 7th grader?
Yeah, kicked us out. Smart move.
He's like, you got to go.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I need my Cuddy Sark. Can I take my pimp juice with me?
Can I take the whole Gatorade thing with me?
Yeah.
Because we poured a lot in there.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, and then it turned into this whole thing where we walked up to some friend's house, and then people were getting drunk. The one thing that was funny too is I had this friend Mark, who at one point,
hi Mark.
Oh hi Mark. He's like, hey, so I bought hey
man.
It was probably like that too. When
you see a chest of drawers around here?
When you hear what I'm gonna say, it was probably like that too. Hey, I got this bottle. What is that? It's Brass Monkey. Oh boy. Dude, I know BC Boys just came out. We're all excited, but what exactly does that mean? And this guy's probably in jail now. So it's par for the course for him to bring that. But then so then we went through this whole ordeal. My buddy got so trashed that he got sick and threw up. My dad's calling me while he's on the date saying that somebody reported that we had alcohol. There's all this shit's crashing down.
Drama.
I'm plugging holes like with everything I can,
Right.
and it just eventually comes crashing down. And I had to own up to it. The next day, my dad was like, we'll talk about this in the morning. The next day, he sits us down and is like, I think you guys should tell your parents. I'm not gonna tell your parents. I'm like, okay. So the other two guys didn't fucking say a word to their parents.
Of course
they got off scot-free.
Yeah. How do you bring that up to your parents too? And then it's a good thing they probably didn't, because the parents are like, why the fuck didn't Matt's dad tell us this?
Yeah, what the hell? Why is and why? Well, if they found out later, even worse. You didn't tell us 4 years ago that happened, you asshole.
Your dad's like, I want no part of this.
We trusted our kids with you. Yeah, exactly. He's like, dude, I'm out. I had a date, man.
I had a date. Hey, look, if they don't want to tell you, they don't got to tell you.
Why are you talking?
This is the don't ask, don't tell. Yeah.
So did you have anything that early, or was it more like into high school?
So I don't really remember my early drinking, but I remember, so let's see, freshman in high school, party that Heno threw
of course,
with a friend, Brendan. And that was a good time. I had too much to drink and got sick, but it was still fun. I believe, I want to say before that, it was just stealing sips of alcohol from the liquor cabinet, just pretending that I knew what was going on, or me and my little friends knew what were going on. We never actually drank enough, I think, that anything felt different, except for that burning and the crappy taste.
There should be, because they had Bitter Beer Face, was that commercial for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's a similar look, but it's that look of just like where you're kind of looking, your eyes are almost watering. You're looking at your friend like,
you're trying to back away from the flavor. Like your whole body like moves back.
And it just makes you can feel every square inch of your stomach. It's like it coats it like Pepto-Bismol, but in a bad way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you ever have to try to replenish and top off? So
I did once. I did with the Jack Daniels, because my dad was so meticulous. I figured, like, I'm sure he's measuring, so I put a little water in there. But again, it was such a little amount. And to be honest, I don't think they probably still have that bottle.
Well, it's aged well, I'm sure.
Oh my God, I can only that
like 30-year-old bottle of Jack Daniels.
But I don't recall like the first actual time anymore, but I do remember liking the feeling of getting drunk a lot, as a young kid. Like, I'm like, we got to do this all the time.
It was a fucking blast.
Oh yeah.
Loved it. Yeah. And I mentioned the situation, my living situation. So then when I was, I guess it was partway through my freshman year, my mom and my brother moved to DC. So it's just me and my dad. Fucking Matt's house is the party house now. He's off chasing the women.
That's right.
And I, meanwhile, have all this, free reign at our house to throw parties and have people over. And so we just constantly got after it. And I also, the other thing I had going for me was my brother's friend, his older brother, is a guy that I hung out with as a kid, which seems weird because there was about a 6-year gap.
Sure.
But his name was Dave. So anytime you want to get alcohol, go to Dave. He'd be like,
what's up, Dave?
We'd go to his work. It must have been so embarrassing for him. So he'd be like working at some, steak restaurant or something. And then 3 punk kids would show up in the lobby. Like, hi, is Dave here? And he'd show up and he'd be like, I'm off at 6, meet me out front. And then we'd follow him to the store and he'd get us whatever we wanted and be on his way.
That's hilarious.
Thanks, Dave. I hope there's a statute of limitations there. He doesn't get busted for that.
Well, let me ask you this. What was it about your brother that your mom chose to take him over you?
I think it's pretty obvious. No, it was a choice. We were given a choice. And so it was, do you want to stay here? They thought actually when they moved that I would go with her since I had so much school left, and that my brother would stay since he only had like 6 months of school left and he was done with high school. He's like, fuck this place. He hated this place.
Okay. Gotcha.
So he wanted to move and finish out there, and he did, and he never really came back. He came back for 6 months, a year at a time every now and again, but for the most part, he's been in the East Coast and in the DC area ever since then. So that's
loving every minute of it.
Loving every minute of it. And so he chose to go. I chose to stay, but then my hand was forced because of a year and 15, 16 months later, my dad got a job in California, and I was given a choice. When I moved to DC or California, I went to DC.
And how long were you in DC?
2.5 years.
So difference in drinking between Oregon, the Pacific Northwest, and DC. Did you notice a difference in like what to do, where to go, what people were drinking?
No, well, so I didn't have a ton of friends when I moved because I didn't know anybody.
Oh,
And
that's
so
okay. We like you.
It was really sad.
Yeah.
No, I made a couple good friends. One is a guy named Jarrett who I've mentioned before, and he was on our old show as a guest host. And so he and I kind of had that immediate bond of like, hey, you want to just hang out and like don't do anything, just sit around and drink? Sure. let's do
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I spent most of my drinking days in high school was that. Or I lived in a house with my, this is a fun list. My mom, my uncle, my aunt, brother, sister. So all brothers and
Okay.
sisters.
Oh, cool.
And
Like Little House on the Prairie.
like that, yes.
Okay.
And my mom's friend, and maybe one other. There were like six of us.
Friend? Are we doing quote friend? Was your mom going through an experimental time?
No,
or?
she was not.
Okay.
Not. It was her friend from back here who had gone back and got a job at the same time she did.
Mm-hmm.
So they all lived in this house, and so it would a blind eye, not even a blind eye was turned. It was kind of like, well, you're here. So like, when I was 16 or whatever, and New Year's Eve rolled around, and we were all just hanging out. They're like, have as many beers as you want. We don't give a shit.
Right.
So they were pretty lax about it. I think I was just kind of put in more of an adult environment. So they figured, well, he can handle it.
Were you responsible with it most of the time?
Yeah, because I mean, I wasn't.
It wasn't a big deal.
Anything,
You got. How long did it take from when you started drinking to that line of like, oh, it's not you keep drinking, and eventually then you get sick. It's like you can drink, feel good, and kind of start to back off a bit.
Wait, what?
Yeah. We got to go.
I think, still learning to this day.
Still learning. Yeah.
I think you go through high school and then college, you start to figure it out more, but you're still just in like full go mode, I guess.
It almost seems like at that age, in college or not, it's almost you just don't care. You're like,
you don't.
We're just drinking.
Almost seems like I don't know if this is a direct correlation. It almost seems like once you get a job that's more, you know what I mean? Like I had a job in college that was
where you have to start planning the drinking more.
Well, yeah, because I was a night auditor. I worked overnight. I worked a graveyard shift. So 5 nights a week I couldn't. So that kind of straightened me out a little bit to be like, okay, I'm just going to go crazy hard on these other
Right. Well, that's what happens though.
It can just bottle it all up. But no, I think I just started to manage it better. But I mean, anybody who's listening to this show who knows me is probably like, you manage it really well.
Yeah, you've nailed it.
I have a tendency sometimes to let it get away from me a little bit. And so, I have to watch that. But no, for the most part, I'm not really a like an everyday drinker, to this day. I don't come home and come home.
I don't walk outside, turn around, and walk back in and go, "Hey, I'm home."
Here. No, but I don't, have.
You're not a cocktail at night guy or beer with
glass
dinner.
of wine or anything. I don't really do that. I usually so much of it too is because I'm up doing work and shit all the time, and I just don't want to, put myself to sleep by having 3 beers, and then all of a sudden I'm like,
Right.
So that's kind of what that is about. But what I was going to ask you about. So you in high school you didn't drink a ton, but once you got into kind of college age, you turned it up.
No. I drank a lot in high school.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh yeah. No. It was the thing to do, and I was also starting to play music, so I also thought like wanting to be in a band and playing rock music kind of went hand in hand. Like let's have a few beers and do this.
What percentage of the time did you perform under the influence in a way that made it dodgy? You know what I mean? Like, or did you usually
only
drink after?
Oh no, I did before, but only a couple times was it like, I had too much beforehand. Like but never to the point where like I was freaking hammered on stage. Right. But there were a couple times and I was like, I should have not had that last beer. Like I'm feeling a little loopy. Yeah. But I would say like 98% of the time I had something to drink either before the show or while on stage.
Loosen up.
Yeah, there was part of that, and part of it was usually at that point too. It was like a light beer. I wasn't getting crazy because you're gonna have a few, and you're up there, and it's usually hot, and you're sweating a little bit, so it's not like you're just freaking pounding beer.
Right.
But there were times like I got off the stage, and big old fucking stage at these little bars.
Well, and just all of the fans to get through all the fans. I'm just trying to get a drink, fans. You call them fans. Hey, fans.
Fans got off and I was like, whoa, okay, I'm a little tipsy. This is crazy.
Yeah, so I should have.
But for me, that was part of it. I never played music to be like this amazing musician. I liked writing songs and I liked
an artist.
I was just having fun, man. And drinking was part, the whole party thing was part of it. It was like,
Yeah.
I'm not reinventing the wheel.
No.
I'm just perfecting the art of looking at it.
There you go. And I've seen a YouTube clip or two of you back in the day.
Got a couple.
Singing.
A couple out there.
It's good
Frickin'
stuff.
Belting it out. So that was that. Yeah, no, high school was definitely, but I played sports too. So it wasn't like,
Yeah, that curtails it a little bit.
yeah. And it was a weekend or an every now and then party thing. It wasn't like, I was not a kid who came home and frickin' drank during the week, like snuck a beer or something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty extreme. I
I had friends that did.
Oh, really? Yeah. See, I never was that. It was more just a party thing.
Yeah.
So.
Couple people I knew that died because of it too.
Ah,
so
fuck.
yeah.
Well, we just brought the show down.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, I mean, people die. Freaking everyone's gonna die.
People do die. That's true.
So what is I'm gonna kind of skip ahead because we can sit here and tell stories for freaking ever.
This
But
is a 3-part episode.
What is your favorite beverage now? Like, I want to know your favorite mixed drink, your favorite straight alcohol, and where your feelings are on beer and wine.
Okay. My go-to to start a night whenever I go out to dinner with my lady friend or go out for drinks, I always start with an old-fashioned.
I was gonna say 2 shots of tequila and a Long Island iced tea. Let's just get the night started.
I can't believe they even let you order a Long Island iced tea at this point. I mean,
they are good though. If they're made well, they taste good. Yeah.
But there are like 4 shots in them. I mean, they're very strong.
They should come in like a 3-ounce glass. It should be like a little thing that you just kind of sip on.
Not the tall one, whatever the hell that's called.
Not the 24-ounce big gulp.
Yeah, tumbler or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a bad idea. And it seems like you don't ever go, you know what? I'm going to start the night with one of those.
No,
it happens when you're 10 drinks in, and you want to hammer one back, and then that's a bad end of the night.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm a big fan of the old fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
You made some for us when we were in Eugene last time. I think I told you how I discovered the High Noon old fashioned.
I don't know what that is.
That's what the name. I looked it up to see if I was getting that right. They use blackstrap molasses.
Okay,
it is so fucking delicious.
All right.
So
well, you'll be making them next time.
You need to. Well, I'm not the greatest drink maker, but I'll try. Yeah. But what I was going to say is, you should look that recipe up. They are so smooth. They're very dangerous. You could just sit there and fucking hammer them down. But I have to be careful with bourbon.
Really?
I get a side eye look from the missus every time I order a second one. She's like, she's like, I know you like to kick it off there, but shouldn't we switch to beer now?
And that's when you're like, just shut up.
Yeah. Listen, woman.
Yeah.
You said you weren't going to do that. Not this time. I'll drink bourbon neat also, but that's about it. Like I don't drink, Manhattans and things like that.
Right.
Don't really favor those. I guess I drink Jedi juice or whatever the hell it was called. Like at the cantina in Disneyland.
Oh, right. Right. That's
Jedi
right.
juice. I hope that's not the name of it. That's really gross.
Jedi jizz.
Brown.
Wait, what?
Jedi juice. And then when it comes to other liquors, I mean, like I like a gin and tonic or vodka tonic. Those are nice and smooth. Anything that's kind of refreshing like that. Like every now and again, I always forget to order them, but I like a Greyhound. Those are really tasty.
Oh, okay, sure.
Just something that's refreshing and light. So that's kind of what I would favor. I think for a mixed drink is either like a G&T or some sort of clear alcohol with some sort of mix in it.
With a splash of something.
Yeah, I mean, I can.
Refreshing.
Exactly. I can do, I mean, and I've done all over the board with rum and Cokes and shit. And I'll tell you right now, rum and Cokes are delicious. But it's not a drink that you should drink when you're 45 years old.
Right. Right.
So I stopped drinking those. But what about you? What's your favorite? Or do you want me to keep going with the beer and wine? You go with your cocktails.
So my favorite cocktail now is just more for like memories. And I do really enjoy it, but I never have them anywhere but Jamaica, but is a rum punch because it's just something about bringing me back to Jamaica.
When in Jamaica.
But I have become a fan of the old fashions.
They're great.
And I am a big fan of the vodka tonic as well.
Yeah. Not the gin and tonic?
I will do gin and tonic, but vodka tonic for me is one step above the gin and tonic.
Okay.
And as we've discovered, I mean, all gin is infused vodka.
I was waiting for it. I knew it was coming. You need a t-shirt that says that. Did you know?
Did you know? Dude, it blew my mind. And I have been enjoying bourbons and whiskeys and learning more about those lately. I think part of it, too, is just as I get older and my taste buds are dying, all of a sudden that stuff doesn't kick me in the face like it once did, and it's enjoyable now.
I think that's a big part of it because I think that I drink beer for my. I mean, I would say drink quite a bit. Beer is kind of where I tend to lean, but I like to just kick off the night with a cocktail. But I didn't have the appreciation for the taste of liquor as much until as I started aging, I started to enjoy it more. So it's just the way it worked.
Same thing, I think, with beer for me, too. Like, I was always a fan of lighter beers. Like, I joked around about Miller Genuine Draft, but I actually liked that beer back in the day. It was enjoyable. I was a big fan of the Coors Light for a long time. And then it started just kind of tasting like water and getting into stronger beers. It has been more enjoyable.
Yeah, I think Coors Light still comes into play if we're doing... Like if I go to a duck tailgate and I'm actually at the tailgate and we're going to be there for 3 hours, then I'll just drink Coors Light. Because otherwise, if I have 6 IPAs before I go in, that's not a good idea.
No, and you're not going to. And then that's almost whatever is the hops freaking balance in IPA. It starts to hurt my stomach too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Coors Light. I mean, I might be pooping funny the next day from all of those, but at least it doesn't rip me up. While I'm sitting there tailgating with my ducks. What?
I hope you say that to somebody when they ask you about Coors Light. Well, it tastes like water and it makes me poop funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
You ever there's a shirt, Coors Light. Tastes like water, makes you poop funny.
I think anything cold you can drink. So Coors Light's got to be cold. Anything like that that's so watery, urine, cold, anything like that.
Good.
But I have always favored beers, and I'm definitely a big IPA person. I like to drink a lot of IPAs. Those are tasty, and
I know you're a fan of the Deschutes.
I like the Deschutes fresh squeezed. I like Lagunitas makes a lot of good IPAs. There's my buddy's got that brewery, Rubens Brews. Go check them out. Shout out to Rubens Brews. They make some really good shit. So I just tend to favor that. That's whenever if I go to a bar and somebody's like, hey, I'm going to go up to the bar. What do you want? Just give me an IPA.
Yeah, I am the same way. I do like very strong IPAs and double IPAs. I am a fan of the Stone Brewing, as well as some of the smaller. But I do like smaller breweries, but I do like Lagunitas too. It's tasty. It's a good that something is a nice
something's good.
Yeah. A nice warm, holding of the nuts while you're drinking.
I think I also, as I got older, started to appreciate wine a little bit more, but I'm still not anywhere near that. Like to the point where I still, to this day, if we go somewhere or something and I decide to have a glass of wine, people look at me like I'm a fucking child and decided I didn't want to drink milk that night. So they're like, you're going to have wine?
Yeah.
Yes, I can drink wine. I'm sophisticated.
I got it. Just fill up the mug with wine or whatever you people do.
Yeah, it's like the old days I used to do with, soda. Like I don't even rinse out the milk glass. Just pour the red wine right in there. But my issue with wine is I can't differentiate between tastes very well. So it's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's
like, did you like that? I mean, just subtle differences, but for the most part, I can't tell you. When people are like, oh, this is really good. I'm like, okay.
I went through a big wine kick and I really do enjoy wine, but it's funny because I'll drink a lot of wine or drink wine often.
Yes.
That sounds terrible. Not like I'm drinking mass quantities.
I drink a lot of wine often.
But it'll go through this, like I'm like, oh, it's a wine thing. So for 6 months, I'll pretty much only drink wine.
Nice.
This is not helping me at all.
That's great. That's good.
And then all of a sudden I'll just stop. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good.
You just go through wine kicks.
Wine kicks.
That matches your personality.
I do like wine.
That matches your personality. No, because you go through these stretches where you really go heavy on something and then you're like, yeah, okay, I'm going to switch.
I'm good. I'm good. Especially my drinking.
So the other thing I was going to say is as I've aged, it's the effects.
Oh yeah,
that have slowed me down as well because, it used to be very resilient as a youngster.
Didn't need as much recovery time.
Right, you could bounce back pretty quickly.
Yeah, I can't deal with that shit now.
It's tough, and I don't know if that affects you when we're in Eugene, but it's like the next day. I mean, depending on how bad it was the night before, how many tears I shed and tacos and all that. I'm usually operating at like a 60 to 70% the next day. And then by day 2, I'm still at like 92%. I'm not 100%. There's second day that lingers. I don't know why. It's not bad. I'm totally fine. I can do whatever. But there's just something like in me that just isn't quite 100% right.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say I'm 100%. There was one, I think it was the first trip. There was one morning that I was like, ooh, I feel a little. I think it was that first trip because I think we went and had lunch at that like wooded interior.
Just the last time?
No, it was the time before. It was the first trip.
Went to a wooded place.
The interior was a bar. We got sandwiches. They weren't great.
Yes. It was right by campus.
Yeah, we were talking and we're like, well, we go take naps. And we're both like, yeah, let's go do that.
That's right.
That morning was, or that day, one more morning, because afterwards, that night, we were pretty much good to go.
Yeah.
But I do, when we go, I do try to watch what I'm doing. I mean, get to the point where I'm having a good time and enjoying, because I don't want to feel like garbage.
Totally.
You know, because then it's like we don't get to hang out that often. So
yeah, I think that's one of the things that back in the old days that I really used to hurt myself with is the drinking all the way up until you went to bed.
Yeah.
Not a good idea.
No.
So then as you age, you get a little smarter, or maybe some people never have this problem.
You never know. Right. Or some people are responsible. Sure.
Right. But you get to a certain point in the night where you're like, water, and you just start drinking water, and then you feel much better in the morning because of it. It is amazing how much water, just having even 2 glasses of water before you go to bed,
huge
makes
difference.
Such a huge difference in your body when you wake up. Or the go back sleep, or when you wake up at 5:30 in the morning or something the next morning, or 6 or something, and you take 2 aspirin and drink a glass of water and go back to bed. You're like almost all the way back by the time you wake up again.
Yeah. And almost drinking anything that's not alcohol. Like you could even you want to crush, some 7-Ups or some Gatorades, whatever, just as long as you're kind of letting your liver and kidney kind of soak something else besides liquid death. But the recovery, even if I can do it, and now obviously being older, no, I'm not going to die.
Right.
I just don't even want to feel crappy the next day. It's just not even fun. A little fuzzy, or a little bit, feeling like you didn't get enough sleep. I'm okay with that. But that feeling like headache and, oh my God.
The nice thing you have is you guys do a lot of day drinking.
Mm-hmm.
So and of course you could parlay that into night drinking.
Sure.
And I think when I've been down there, we did that.
Yeah.
But if it's just your normal kind of routine of you guys going out, hey, we're going to go to this brewery and we're going to have a few drinks, going to come back, maybe have a drink or two and make dinner, and then you're done.
Mm-hmm.
It builds in that time to kind of let everything kind of equal out, and then you're fine. The next day you wake up and you're okay.
Yeah, absolutely. The drinking and hanging out, and then normally what will happen is stop before dinner, then make dinner, and then I'll be drinking water or something other than alcohol. So then there's the whole cooking, then there's the eating, then there's maybe watching a little TV after dinner and hanging out. So it's a good few hours of now getting other liquids in the body.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I don't typically like to drink alcohol with food.
Right.
That's always been a thing for me. I will stop drinking or switch up or drink after or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I always tend to favor drinking, water or soda or something else that's not alcoholic. I don't know why. Even like the whole pizza and beer thing. I mean, sure, I do it sometimes, but for the most part, I'm like, yeah, I'll drink the beer later.
I agree with that. I do it. Depends. Wine, sometimes I feel a little differently, because if I actually know the wine I'm having in the meal, sometimes I enjoy that.
Sure.
But even like pizza and beer, I'm not really enjoying the beer because I drink a lot of liquid when I'm eating. Right. So I'd almost rather maybe have a beer before I eat, than switch to water, like you said, soda, whatever, and then have a couple beers just sitting there afterwards. But while I'm not even tasting the beer because I'm shoving my face full of pepperoni.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. pepperoni and pesto.
Freaking Tracktown. Pour one out for our homies.
We really got to hope that works out this fall, because I'm not going to lose my mind if we don't get to meet up and do the Tracktown trip and all that. It's going to suck.
Well, we got time. We
do. We'll see. Maybe things will sort itself out by then. Well, I'm sure we'll have a quarantine by then.
Yeah, well, it'll be good.
If they just try the half jizz mix, see what happens.
Just give it a shot.
Did you have any other questions? I didn't have anything else.
No, I think we pretty much covered our alcohol. Fun little alcoholic tribute.
Yes, we could go on and on about that. You tell us, folks. You tell us your favorite alcohols and such.
Sure.
Speaking of advice that you like to ask us, this is our Take It From Us segment, where we offer up some advice to a listener who submits a question, and you can do the same at reasonsaredebatable@gmail.com or on Twitter at reasonsare. This week, Dave in Austin, Big Dick Dave, he writes this.
All right.
This question was raised to me, and I wasn't sure how to answer, so maybe you guys can help. Would you, stay with me, would you blow a guy
once for
Yes.
$50,000.
Yes.
I knew you were going to answer right away. Or
Yes.
all of the above.
Yes.
Is this a multiple choice?
Yeah.
All of the above. Or you get 5,000 per blow, unlimited blows.
Okay. Well, I want to clear a couple things up here.
Okay.
First,
I
I want to know if this question is being asked by like a straight male to other straight males to try and make it uncomfortable about sucking dick.
I think that is possible.
Or is this just, I mean, could it be anything? Like, could it just be something we don't like to do, like eat a can of sardines? Or is this like one of those like, oh, I'm going to make you talk about sucking dick because I think it's really funny. Is that what we're doing here?
I don't know.
Really? That's what we're fucking doing here?
I don't know which one it is. However, I do know from a side story that women were present and that maybe a woman answered in a way that her boyfriend didn't appreciate.
That's awesome.
She's like, I'm getting to at least $500,000.
Well, I'm going to answer this question. You should just do it all. No. I would say whatever it is, whether it is licking a penis, whether it's building a chest of drawers,
or
whether it's
a chest of no drawers,
or just a chest, whatever it is, I think you should always try to get as much as you can for what you're doing. So you are lessening your value by doing something multiple times for less money. So I would say you establish your worth in the industry of which you're working and go, that's what I do. So if another opportunity does pop up, let's say,
you don't want to be the 5,000 a blow guy. You want to be the 50,000.
People know what they have to pay for you to blow. And what would I do? Like I said, it doesn't matter what it would be. It could be building that chest of drawers. It's going to be $50,000.
I'm glad that you took the emotion out of it and the physicality out of it and just made this a financial decision, because I think that that's the important thing to do.
Hey, look, there's a lot of people. You've probably had your willy sucked a couple times in your life, and you're hoping that the person the person doing it somewhat enjoyed doing it, at least giving you pleasure. So there's no price. I don't care if a guy wants to suck another guy. I don't care if a girl wants to suck another girl. I don't care who's sucking who. If that's part of what you do, even if it's your business, fuck, man, it's just a dick. What the hell? Right. Mine's in my hand. Half the time I'm peeing, the other half the time I'm whacking it.
Exactly. So
who cares?
Who cares where
dick.
it is? It's just
put it in your mouth. Fucking relax.
It's just a dick. Put it in your mouth. That is not a good...
If someone's going to give you a hard time for sucking dick, who cares? Be like, I just made $50,000, bro.
Or as you always like to say, times are hard. People forget.
That's right. That's right. So how long has Dave been sucking dick for money?
I don't know. David,
is this his new podcast?
This is his new gig. It's his new podcast. Oh man. Podcast without bounds.
Good for him for not being embarrassed though. I like it.
No, I was gonna say I think the other angle is, if you want to think long term, if you know you're only gonna get capped at the 50, then maybe you should just go with the 5 per, because then at least you're gonna get beyond the 50. But I get the angle you're taking to saying your worth is what you take the first one for.
Yeah, but then you're like the Earl Scheib of freaking sucking dick. You're just like you're all about quantity and not quality. Right. And then the people that want a good paint job aren't going to come to your stupid spray shop.
Right.
Spray and pray.
Work 10 times smarter, not 10 times harder.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on.
I get it. It's easy.
That's 10 dicks. I mean, you're giving a lot away.
Wow. I think you win either way, but
there's a shirt for you.
That's 10 dicks with your hands up. 2 hands up.
Just a silhouette.
Oh man.
10 dicks.
I think we've helped there. Thank you very much for listening to our show. You can find us and share your thoughts at Reasons Are on Twitter. Neil is
at AngelsFreak7.
You can email us your advice questions at reasonsaredebatable@gmail.com. Go get your merch at I want to say Teespring. tpublic.com/store/dappod. We got a few nice reviews recently. I want to thank you for that. I really appreciate you guys giving us feedback, chatting us up on the old Twitter, telling your friends, your family, your countrymen, etc.
Friends, Romans.
We will be back next week. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.